Yo, what is up? This is another part to the What If Sasuke Died series. Last time we left off with Naruto actually getting away from the suicide bombing of, basically Datara. And Datara failed to actually kill Naruto. What a shame. Actually, no, fuck that dude. No one likes Datara. Datara's a little bitch. Alright, now we're gonna move on to what would be this part. So without further ado, let's get into it. Naruto and Sakura prepared to meet up together. It's the date that Naruto promised to her if she actually impressed him, which she did in the last part. So, this leads towards two girls getting jealous, Tamari and, of course, Hinata. They found out about this and they were extremely taken off guard. Now, Tamari was aware of the entire thing of what comes down to, like, the deal. She was aware of that, but she never expected Sakura to actually impress Naruto. But when she did, she was surprised. She wasn't there, after all, with Lady Chiho and Naruto, so she never saw what happened. So it leads to them actually following him in secrecy, trying to see what's going on. Now, they're waiting outside what would be a ramen shop. Now, it's not Ichiraku Ramen's. After all, it's a meeting place. It's not where they're going to eat. Sakura is there, and she says she prepared a place to eat. Naruto's like, oh, well, what's this place? Is it Ichiraku Ramen's? Because, after all, it's a better ramen place than this place. Trust me, I've eaten all the ramen. She's like, no, 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 no. We're going to go get some steak. There's a steak shop down the street. He's like, really? I've never eaten steak. She's like, you haven't eaten steak? He's like, no, I've always been on a tight budget. And even though I don't really have problems with money anymore, I do have quite a bit of money. I just haven't really thought about it. I usually just eat ramen. Or I'll eat my vegetables. It's, gotta stay consistent. She's like, oh, well, you're in for a treat. So they end up going there. And she, of course, grabs his arm, linking arms, trying to look like a couple. And the reason she did this is because she saw the two following them. She wants to make them jealous. They are her competition, after all. So Sakura grabs Naruto's arm and he looks down. What are you doing? Well, this is what a date does, and you promised me a date. Naruto's just like, fair enough. That is what a date goes on, as he sees others doing it. So they continue on. As they enter in, they go into what would be like the host. The host says, oh, aren't you just a cute couple? Naruto corrects him. Oh, no, we're not a couple. This is just a date. He's like, oh, well, hope and best of luck. Naruto's like, yeah, I guess. So it leads to him sitting down, and they get a front row seat into what would be the window. Now, the window, as in, they're like in between the corners. There's one that's to the back, and there's one to the left. So they're in the back left-hand corner of what would be the restaurant. So basically, as they begin eating, Naruto is going to start talking with her and just talking about how she's a much better shinobi and how she's making him proud and she'd make Sasuke proud. Now, she doesn't even go quiet anymore. She says something that surprises Naruto. And she says this. Now, this may piss you off, but I've realized I never truly loved Sasuke. I, all I did was pursue him because of his greatness. I thought he was so cool, but I never had true loves of or admiration for him. I truly figured out what that was like when I was saved by you so many times, and when you told me how useless I was. That's why I've bettered myself, Naruto. Naruto's like, yeah, 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 you better yourself for me. That's cool. Alright, now, I just wanted to say, your Genjutsu abilities are pretty good. They're better than mine if I didn't have the Sharingan. She's like, well, I did have an affinity for it, if you do recall. Kakashi said so. He's like, oh yeah, you're right. That is true. And then suddenly, as she gets she's of course got a little bit of a drink. Now, I would say it'd be something more like not necessarily a beer. Nah, it's gonna be beer, because why the fuck not? They're old enough. They're shinobi. It should be allowed. I believe it's allowed. So she's got a little bit of foam set around her mouth. And Naruto's like, oh, hey, you've got something. He's gonna lean over the table and, wipe it with his finger, then lick it. Well, his finger. And this leads towards her going bright red. And then the girls that are watching from the outside, they suddenly just drop to the floor in jealousy. They're like, what? This isn't... What? That's not fair. She's getting all this time. And Naruto's like, are you okay? You're bright red. Do you have a fever? Sakura's like, no, 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 nothing at all. It's just a little hot in here. Naruto's like, no, it's not. It's like 60 degrees. She's like, oh, well, it's different because, and Naruto's like, you're just stuttering over and over again. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to shut up now. This leads towards them actually, just kind of having a little laugh. Naruto doesn't know necessarily what she's laughing at, seeing as how he's just laughing at her. But it leads on to him actually ending the date with, them going to what would be like ice cream. After they get ice cream, it's just a relatively pretty easy process. They just, of course, get ice cream, eat it together, and now it does lead to this. Naruto's like, well, I could buy us both one, and Sakura's like, no, I'd prefer to share. And Naruto's like, why? Aren't you like a healer? Doesn't that lead to like some germs that shouldn't be spread? She's like, I don't have germs, and I know you don't. Naruto's like, how do you know? Maybe you're not the first girl I've done this with. Suddenly, the girls that are watching and her go quiet. Wait, are you serious? Naruto's like, nah, I don't fuck with that. I just do my own thing. She's like, oh, thank God. Then suddenly, Naruto's like, fine, if you really want to share, I'm fine with that. So it leads to them actually beginning, to eat out of the same thing. Of course, they both have, like, what would be their own spoon. Naruto doesn't really understand the concept of why she wants to eat the same thing. He knows that she has a thing for him, especially since she just admitted it. But he's like, it just seems meaningless to him. But afterwards, it leads to them just walking away and Naruto smiling. It was kind of smiling because it was actually a pretty fun day. And then Sakura just looks up and she's like, I had fun. Naruto's like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Wouldn't do this every day because it would probably get a little boring. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good break from training. Speaking of which, I should probably get back to training. She's like, you always train. Naruto's like, well, I gotta develop my abilities to such a great degree. That's how I got so strong. Now, she just smiles with admiration. Now, as Naruto walks away, and just goes back to his training, it leads to two girls, the Tamari and, Hinata running over to Sakura and immediately just kind of scolding her. How dare you try to get ahead of us that way? That's not fair. That's when, that she's like, well, I did go along with what would be the deal. And they're like, fine. But I'm gonna get Naruto to go on a date with me and I'll show you that he's gonna love me more than he'll ever love you. She's like, good luck. And that's gonna be the end of this part. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah. I hope you guys liked it. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'm on the road to 10K now. Thank you guys for watching.